What's up, fam? This is Amber, a student from our Science Society, and today we're going to talk about fronts and air masses as a subtopic of global wind patterns. So what are we waiting for? Let's head on to the topic.
The interior of Alaska is cold in the winter, and so is the air. General Center City, however, is hot and near the ocean, and you will find hot, moist air in the area. The Sahara Desert is hot and dry, and so are its winds.
Air masses are large regions of air that have similar characteristics from its surrounding area. They can also be defined as a large mass of air that has the same temperature and humidity all throughout.
Air masses can form over places like warm tropical oceans, cold and dry polar regions, and even dry deserts. In this illustration, air masses can move over different regions and they will gradually take on the characteristics of the new region and begin to change.
Which brings us to the question, how and where do air masses form?
An air mass forms whenever the atmosphere remains in contact with a large, relatively uniform land or sea surface for a time sufficiently long to acquire the temperature and moisture properties of the surface. Some air masses form over polar or tropical regions. They also form over continents or oceans. Air masses that form over continents are called continental air masses.
There are 7 continents in the world, and each of them have their own air masses. And continental air masses are dry, and they sometimes can be cold or warm.
Those that form over oceans are called maritime air masses.
These air masses are the opposite of continental air masses. They are moist, and they can sometimes be hot, cold, or even warm. Now that we know how and where they form, how do air masses move?
Air masses are moved by winds. To be specific, these winds are called global winds.
If you have watched weather forecasts, you would hear of the terms easterlies and westerlies. And in our language, we call it hanging habagat and hanging amihan. And those are the major wind patterns that are caused by the Earth's rotation.
As such, cold air masses tend to move toward the equator, and warm air masses tend to move toward the poles. Coriolis effect causes them to move on a diagonal. As air masses move across the Earth, they will eventually run into each other. The boundaries between these two air masses are referred to as fronts.
A front is a boundary of an air mass that is approaching and replacing another air mass out of the way. There are 4 types of fronts. There are warm fronts, cold fronts, stationary fronts, and even occluded fronts. A warm air front occurs when an air mass of a warmer temperature overtakes an air mass of a colder temperature.
Drizzle and decreasing visibility will be present as temperatures rise. Once the front passes, rain showers are possible, followed by gradual clearing.
A cold front occurs when cold, dense air overtakes warmer air.
Cold fronts will move across the ground, lifting the existing air at a very rapid rate. This rapid upward motion will cool the air and form cumulus clouds, which could eventually develop into thunderstorms, or even form a line of thunderstorms called a squall line. Once the front passes, weather will clear and improve.
Stationary fronts occur when 2 air masses meet, but neither one of them moves the other away.
The weather within this type of front is a mixture between the 2 fronts.
Occluded fronts occur when a warm air mass is trapped in between 2 cold air masses.